Warning: the content of this podcast may offend you. If you are a snowflake or easily offended, please stop watching now.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're dreaming. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rubber City Throwdown, the official Voices of Honor Fighting Championship and Cage Thunder. So, just a couple topics we're going to talk about today. Make it short and sweet, nothing too complicated. First and foremost, let's take a look at this. What we've got over here on the table. Tim Tam. Check out this Tim Tam, one of the newest sponsors.
Yeah. Power massager. It's amazing. It's like magic.
It is, actually.
It's magic.
And, I was using it earlier before the podcast.
Scared the living shit out of me. I thought you had another cramp. Dude wakes me up at like 3 o'clock in the morning when we were teenagers, going like, this is all I get.
But yeah, man, it's calf cramps. When I played football, man, not a potassium. This shit hurts, man.
They're moving.
Oh, God, it was bad. But, we're here at Apex Flight Systems. And, again, thanks for housing us.
No problem. Still rolling.
Still rolling.
Never gonna stop.
So let's talk about, let's roll into our first topic real quick, man. Let's talk about Anderson Silva and Israel Adesanya.
Adesanya. Israel Adesanya.
Oh, I knew I was going to butcher that.
The last style bender.
Yeah, the last style bender. I remember when I first seen this guy, man, I was like, get the fuck out of here. This guy, man. And this is a very interesting fight. Now, the big question here is, do you agree with Anderson Silva's decision to fight a guy like Adesanya?
I do, just because this is a fight that, gets Anderson Silva back. Like I said, if he wins, he gets a title shot. So if he loses, there's a chance he becomes like a gatekeeper, which is a pretty, big mountain of a gatekeeper. But, no, I like the decision. It's... he fought Cormier on 2 days' notice.
Right.
It's say what you want about Silva. He's always a gamer. He always shows up.
You don't feel that he is risking his legacy by fighting a guy like this?
In MMA, no. Legacies are so different because almost no one goes undefeated. You're going to lose. It's when you're losing, fights that you shouldn't be in. That's when you can, look at BJ Penn.
Right.
Like, probably my favorite fighter of all time. He should probably stop fighting.
But he's still going.
And he's getting ready to fight, and he's getting ready to fight again. He wants to go out on a win, which I understand that too, but there has to be a point where someone in your life, or in their lives, has to be like, you just can't do it. You can't. And it's not an easy fight for Adesanya either. It's the matchup, they're so similar, and then how they fight. The only other person I would want either one of those to fight, it'll probably never happen, is MVP, just because of the styles, But
now, do you personally believe in? Because I know everyone says it, MMA and fighting is a young man's sport. So when you start, these guys that get up to around 40 and they end up they end up retiring, and I've always, I know, as someone, I'm 31, and I'm actually getting ready to get back into the cage, and I can't help but think, play that over and over in my head as, fighting is a young man's sport, and they'll be go. Some people will go, "We're young. You're still young," but it's like, yeah, but am I young enough to actually do something in the sport? A lot of guys, you'll hear people say, "Well, you get maybe a good 10 years of MMA." And before your body just can't handle it anymore. And I do believe that to a certain extent. How do you feel about that statement? Again, being MMA and fighting is a young man's sport.
I disagree with the statement. It's something that you have to start at a younger age now, just because of all the knowledge and skills you have to acquire. If you wrestled in high school and you didn't do shit, and then you're 36 and you're like, I'm gonna fight. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Because now you have these 20, 21, 22-year-olds who wrestled. They know jiu-jitsu. They're doing boxing and kickboxing, Muay Thai. That's where the young man's game thing comes in, is when you run to those. But your 30s is when you're in your prime for MMA. A lot of it's just as much as of a mental game as it is physically.
Yeah.
So the more knowledge you have in MMA, the farther you can go with it. It's not, it's not just about being the biggest badass or having the best skills, because, we've both seen it. You have guys that kill it in the gym. They're going to have every title in the region, get in the UFC, lights turn on, they get in the cage. It's not the same person. And
Right.
it's a mental thing. So, and a lot of that comes with experience.
Right. No, I agree. Speaking of age and experience, how do you feel about the Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell rematch?
We saw this coming, didn't we?
It was a perfect intro.
Yeah, I mean,
Segue. I don't have a problem with Tito fighting. Like, he's been semi-consistent, but Liddell was told not to fight because he kept getting knocked out. And
Right.
that's like we were talking about, like a legacy thing. What,
No, he's 50, right?
49,
Is he 49? Yeah. See, there's this running argument now that Chuck Liddell, a lot of guys, they're saying they're disgusting. A lot of fighters and current UFC fighters, hell, even Dana White went on this huge tirade about it was disgusting. He's calling De La Hoya a cokehead, and that's a whole other fucking rabbit hole to go down, especially with De La Hoya, because that dude's a piece of shit. But yeah, everyone told Chuck Liddell that he shouldn't fight, and then I see seemingly got goaded into fighting Tito, and maybe it was because he had already had the confidence of beating him so many times before, and he needed the money. I don't know.
It could be money. I think it was also he hasn't competed in so long. He was feeling healthy for a 50-year-old, so he's like, hey, shit, I can fight again. But feel as good as you want once your chin goes.
Right.
Once your body's, reacts blacking out as defense, you can't fight anymore. And that's what happens to him. He gets touched and he's done.
I was a little irritated about because I grew up, I was a Tito Ortiz fan growing up, and then as the years went on, and the excuses came out with him, his back injury, and I was gonna keep this under wraps, but I have a back injury that's been bothering me, and it basically started blaming his losses on injuries. And I'm not saying that he wasn't injured, but
It was every loss.
Yeah, it was like every loss. There was a reason, except hey, you just lost. But the way Tito acted after he knocked out Chuck was like he just beat 20-year-old Chuck.
Right.
That's the way he acted to me. And it
welcome
was
to the finish line, buddy.
Yeah, it was like I finally did it. I finally beat Chuck Liddell. I told you I was gonna beat
Personal
your ass.
accomplishment. Win's a win. But watching that, I don't know why this was my favorite part, but when he was trying to do the grave digger,
yeah.
and everyone in there was trying to stop him from doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, it's so much different than it was 15
That kind
years
of
ago.
irritated me a little bit. Why were they trying to stop him
I don't
from
know.
doing that?
Like they don't want fighters up on the cage anymore. They don't want them doing anything to, instigate a fight.
Oh, because the Conor McGregor and Khabib thing, and
But
Oh my god.
We don't want bricks thrown
but
into anybody's
Tito's
buses.
done that every time he wins.
Yeah, it's his thing. It's his shtick.
Right?
You know,
And
that's what he does.
If you like, it's just seeing that flashback of a fight and
It's
then
a
watching,
shtick.
30 people with maroon jackets running there trying to stop him.
Yeah.
It just,
That was hilarious. That was funny to me, but it irritated me. But I thought it was I thought it was funny, man.
like he didn't even get to like pat the mound down.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, he was in the middle of shoveling, man, and
Yep.
he couldn't even finish his shovel, man. It really kind of irritated me.
Well, now he's probably irritated because the guy's going to have an open grave from now on.
right. Well,
Right.
then Chuck
Yeah.
after it, he's like, oh, I could have done some things different. Like
Could have used a backhoe.
But he's talking like he's gonna fight again. That's how it sounded.
Yeah,
And
I don't know.
And then Tito said he's gonna retire, but now they're trying to get him to fight again already. It's crazy, and
I wonder how much money they had. Like 7 amateur fights on that card, right? And it was pay per view, right?
14 fights, 5 of them were amateurs.
5 amateurs. It was a pay per view.
Pay per view.
That's insane, man.
And the amateurs
cool
get
for
dick.
cool for the amateurs to get on a card like that against
And not get paid for it.
Yeah,
It's
but
sweet.
they didn't get paid for it. But like, that's cool, man. Being on a card with some of the guys like that, UFC Hall of Famers and shit. But yeah, that's kind of shitty. Man. Going on pay per view, capitalism at its finest, right?
Right. And I mean, De La Hoya, I think, should stick to boxing. I don't think MMA is really his thing. And it's
Right.
with what, ONE FC's doing, Bellator, UFC, I don't think there's going to be room for
They were in Inglewood, California with that fight.
a fourth promotion trying to get
Well,
fighters.
it's like De La Hoya fucking. When Conor fought Mayweather, he kind of jumped in and was like, "Oh, this is disgusting. This is bad for the sport." And then when he saw how good it was, then he jumped in and tried to do the whole "I'll fight Conor now." And then now he's trying to promote MMA, and it's like he didn't even know the names. You watch the press conference?
Yeah.
He didn't even know the names of the main events.
Yeah.
I don't think he didn't even know like Chuck's name, how to pronounce it, or it's
Liddell.
like. I was like, dude, sit down, go back to boxing, shut the hell up. But we'll see. We'll see what's up.
Didn't he make a title fight the same day that Conor and Mayweather fought?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there was a Golden Boy Productions the same day just because he was trying to sabotage it because, Conor didn't go fight for him.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. But
Him and Canelo.
Let's
what
see.
about how do you feel about Sage Northcutt getting cut?
I think it'll be good for Sage. I mean, he's not pulling like he did when he first came in. He's still growing. What is he, like 22 years old or some shit?
he's young.
If that, one, he'll go over there. Same with Mighty Mouse, make a shit ton of money. Mighty Mouse will just do his thing. He might never come back to the UFC.
I don't think DJ is ever gonna come back. Man.
No.
I really don't. I don't know why would he?
Right.
He's probably he was the greatest pound for pound, one of the most dominant champions in the UFC has ever seen.
Yeah.
But you would never, a lot of people wouldn't even know who he is.
Right. As soon as they took away his Hulk hands, because he used to wear the Hulk hands
Yeah.
out to the cage, and Xbox sponsored him, and I was like, oh, who
It
knows
was
this
because
guy?
he's a gamer. He
Yep.
streams on Twitch.tv.
And then as soon as they took that away, he was just another dude who happened to be one of the best fighters in the world.
yeah. But like when you said Demetrius Johnson or Mighty Mouse, they didn't know who.
No.
Anyone didn't know who he was.
The casual fan was like, who? What?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
he's
like,
got a
well, I know
title.
who Conor McGregor is. I know who Ronda Rousey is. I know who George St. Pierre is. But
And-
DJ was kind of left on the back burner, and I think that's why the UFC had such a hard time trying to promote him
Yeah.
as a fighter. And
And over in one, I think he'll go over a little bit better.
yeah,
And like I said, he's going to make all the money he didn't make with the UFC, he'll make over there. And I think with Sage, Sage will get some fights that are better for him, plus more money. So that way, when he's ready and he comes back, he'll be a better fighter too.
right. And
He'll probably be at 205 when he fucking comes back, but because that kid's still growing, like,
Right.
and he's big anyway.
And talking about mentioning DJ going over to ONE, part of that deal was Ben Askren coming over to the
Yep.
UFC. That is
People
something
are in
that
trouble.
A lot of people have been waiting for Ben Askren to come in the UFC, myself included, to see if the hype is real.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like his style of fighting. Like, I get it. I mean, I get it. It's just like the DC style of fighting. He's a wrestler, a very strong wrestler. But if you watch a lot of his fights, man, he really goes for that takedown, and it's almost like annoying.
He's the heavy-hipped wrestler. Like, even DC will transition positions to try and ground and pound, and he's heavy. But Ben Askren is like GSP before he learned how to throw a jab.
Right.
He's be heavy, climb all over you, get you down, wear you out, and then go for a ground and pound if it's there. But wrestling's part of MMA. If you can't stop a takedown, he might if he gets 27 takedowns in a fight, he will.
And they just officially confirmed Ben Askren in Anaheim.
It was
Anaheim with
Robbie Lawler.
Lawler, yeah. Now, when I see that, I think bad fight for Lawler. You know what I'm saying? Just because Robbie may not necessarily be the same fighter that he was even last year.
Yeah,
So-
and it's an interesting fight, but there's always a puncher's chance, and not that Lawler's just a puncher. He's an extremely well-rounded fighter. I mean, I see Askren getting hit, and then double leg takedown and just grinding him out.
Yeah, I just don't know if Lawler is going to be able to withstand the onslaught of wrestling that Askren is going to throw at this guy. And it's not like Ben has been sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. This kid is, you can see he's making training videos, wrestling promo videos. He's active. He's very active, and he's very motivated right now. He's pissed off. Basically that he wasn't in the UFC a long time ago, and he's here to make a point. So if I were to make a prediction, I think that Ben Askren is going to just roll right through Lawler, and I wouldn't be surprised that after this fight they immediately put him in top 5 contendership.
Yeah.
So
Well, and he's been talking about fighting Khabib too, 155.
Yeah.
But on the other side, there haven't been a lot of people that have come into the UFC and dominated.
yeah,
I remember when Hector Lombard came in, from Bellator, and I was like, oh man, this dude's really good. He's gonna come in, he's gonna whoop everybody's ass. He gets in there, he's 7 inches shorter than everybody because he's so big,
right.
and he just couldn't get a win.
That's because everybody figured out how to beat him.
Yeah.
You just got to weather the 30-second storm, and then he gasses out. And then, after that, he started working on his cardio a little bit more, but unfortunately, it just wasn't really enough.
Man.
But let's move on to let's move into our local.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we want to talk about here, man.
Oh no,
right
you guys
now.
wanted to talk about all that.
Now, this is what we really want to talk about, man. This is what we do. This is why we do this. It's for the local boys, man. Let's talk about the 2 publicly confirmed title fights for Honor Fighting Championship for the January 19th card. You know where it's at? You know where the
January 19th,
Jeremy?
it's Chaparral's.
It is going to definitely be at the Chaparrals. I figured it was going to be there.
Of course, it's gonna
January
be there.
19th, Chaparrals in Akron. The first fight, we'll go ahead and start with weight class. We'll go with the lightweight 155 title. We got William Ferguson out of Erie, PA, going up against an Alex Johnston. Now, William Ferguson and Alex both fought at Nautica back in August. William, who defeated Tim Hughes, snapped Tim's arm. And
Oh no, his right here, the hardest freaking bone.
It's humorous. Yep.
Yeah,
snap that.
I don't think it's very funny.
And then now we got Alex Johnston, who actually lost. He went up against was it
Yohi?
Yohi? There
Yeah.
we go. I almost said Yol, like
Yo Romero stopped in.
we went up against Yohi, Rojas, right?
Yohi
Yohei Rojas.
And that was a tough fight because
Yeah.
Yohi's he's ready. He's
Yeah.
he's ready to go to the next level, and so yeah.
And that was for the 45 title.
Yeah, that was for
Yeah.
the 45 title. Now this is for the 55 title. Now, some of you may be wondering, because it's very interesting, because the next title fight at welterweight is Michael Ado and Maul Lamont. or Lamont Mall or Jamal Lamont.
McLean,
I thought it was
whatever.
McLean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
It's all the same person.
He's like James Bond.
yeah, I mean, he's got
Wait
like
a minute, wasn't that you
six
that had
names.
that issue?
Yeah.
Who's Jamal Lamont?
No, I was like, oh, they switched fighters. McLean's not fighting. Now I'm all Lamont's in.
Anyway,
Dumbass.
we'll just call him Jamal McLean. Call him McLean. So
Maul. Say Maul.
yeah, same Maul.
The Mullinator.
So Alex had that was for the 45 he lost. Now we go up to Michael Ado who won the 55, correct?
Yeah.
Was it the 55 or the 70?
70.
He won the 70. And
Circumstances.
and what
Yeah.
he pops for THC, right? They take the belt away, right? In the meantime, he's from Michigan, right? Over in Michigan, he's fighting, he's winning.
Yeah.
Again, he's up to 7-0 now. You know,
And he went down on. It said he
Yeah.
went down to 45.
yeah,
and
he went
won.
to 45 for this last fight. Now he's jumping back up to 70, and Maul is going down
from 85.
Now Maul had same thing. He won the 85 belt, popped, and lost.
We had
it.
a bad night that night.
Yeah.
I think we only had
lost
one.
it. And it's not like it's a big secret. Everyone knows that, and it's
Yeah.
THC.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, we didn't
it's
have a
not
bad
like
night. That was a great show.
it was a hell of a show.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about the fights. I was just talking about everybody didn't think. Oh well,
Well, no, it's like first off, it's amateurs, and like I said, it's not like these guys are doing performance enhancing drugs, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like they smoked so much pot that they were immune to pain. You know what I'm saying?
no, they
Like,
smoked enough pot to cure the hungry after they cut weight.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that increase it?
That's what I'm talking about. That's a performance enhancement.
Yeah. No.
You don't get the I'm full.
But because those were title fights, obviously they're gonna get they're gonna go ahead and get stripped from that with the OAC. It was made public record, so it's not like it's anything. It's not some big fucking secret. So yeah, so Maul wins the 85, gets popped. Ado wins the welterweight, gets popped. Now they're both going,
After
fighting.
the
They're going after the
welterweight, yeah.
170. Now some of you may be like, what happened to Lucas? Why isn't Lucas, who won the 170-pound title, why isn't he defending? And I said apparently he was offered the fights. He turned down the fights. As Jose said, that they felt that he wasn't ready for this, or it was just a bad fight at that time. So now he had vacated the belt. And now he is going BCM.
Yeah, after
He's
a
fighting-
different
he's
title.
going after for a
Yeah.
different title now in February, I believe.
I think so.
So that's why the 170-pound title is up for grabs for Honor Fighting Championship right now. And like I said, Michael Ado's coming back in. Like I said, hopefully these guys stay off the marijuana
Right.
for
Give it
this
10
fight
days.
because
10 days, man.
whoever wins is if they pop for it, they're going to lose the title again, and it's just going to be until somebody else steps in and defeats the top 3 welterweight and middleweight contenders, dude. That's basically just going to be a rotating cycle of the same
And
guys.
don't think for a
winning.
second that CBD is going to be your way out of it, because now that's
Well,
illegal.
at least they
You can use it.
they
You
won't-
just can't buy it in Ohio.
Yeah, you can't buy it, and you can't test for it either.
Yeah, you can have it
So-
shipped.
It's a cannabinoid. I don't know if it even shows up.
But
No.
with like I said, but William Ferguson and Alex Johnson, that's going to be a really good fight too,
That-
because
yeah.
Alex always brings it. He always brings it every single fight. He's a hell of a
And
wrestler.
he's got a motor. He doesn't stop.
Yes,
you know.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's always going. He's a hell of a wrestler. He's not a bad striker. And William Ferguson, who's got who showcased his striking, his ability to adapt, his judo,
Yeah.
and his fucking ground game is
he's-
phenomenal.
The well-roundedness. Like there wasn't one thing. There's no offense. There wasn't one thing you could pick out like, oh, that was really good because it was just solid. Like there wasn't.
Right.
You couldn't pick out a bad spot or a good spot. It was just like, man, it's a well-rounded, solid fighter. And then, when you talk about Alex Johnson, it's his wrestling's so good because you can pick that out,
Right.
And it is. But that fight, man,
That fight's going to be very good. But with the Michael Ado fight, and
That's
and the
interesting.
McLean fight,
Crazy eyes, man.
that's going to be fucking like when Scott announced that fight. I
I had to
double
reread
took.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I had to double take. I was like, get the fuck out of here, really? Like, because I remember I was thinking about Michael Ado, a couple weeks ago, man. I was just like, where'd he go?
I
And
think-
where is he? And without actually getting on the internet and looking him up and see if he's been active. And my first thought was like, man, he probably wasn't. He probably hasn't been active. And I remember talking to you, Brian. I was like, what's he been doing? What's he been doing this whole time? I haven't seen anything. It was his last fight, the last one, like what was it? April
he
or
fought-
not April? What was it?
June.
June. Sorry, it was like, has he been inactive since June? It was Fight Fest when he fought, and then you're like, no, he just fought on the 16th, and he just won. And that was kind of like oh shit, he's still active.
Yeah.
He's still going. He's still grinding. He's ready to go. Like,
Yeah.
and Michael Ado is a very dangerous fighter.
Yeah.
He's a very high bursty, like high energetic fighter. He gets in your face. And he's relentless. But McLean, dude, is so fucking tough, man.
Yeah.
We saw that when he fought Chris Fattig. And I mean, this kid pushed himself to the point where he was puking after the fight. I mean, he barely fucking stand up, man.
Right.
And he's a very, very talented fighter, and he's 5-0. He's undefeated. He's got momentum. And then you got Michael Ado, who's 7-0, undefeated. He's
And
got a
that's-
ton of momentum, especially coming off of a win as early as the 16th of November. So I'm looking forward to this, man.
Dude, Mike's a really good guy, and he shows with his competitive nature. When he the fight before the title fight, he helped his opponent get up
Yes.
and walk him out and get him his water.
Alec Price.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, I couldn't remember the name right off the top of my head. Give him a water and everything else. Picked him up and walked him out of the ring. Great guy. So I can't wait to talk to him again. But yeah, I mean, not only is that something that we grow to love over time, but from what I
His
thought,
sportsmanship.
oh
right,
yeah. I mean, you just see it progressively getting better and better throughout all the fighters, in the MMA community. How it's not just two guys walking into a cage and beating the shit out of each other and then going home all hostile. It's not. It's all about friendly nature. But anyways,
That's the way that's the way it should be.
Right.
Like I've said before, mixed martial arts is a brotherhood, especially in Ohio. It has to be a brotherhood. Okay, you don't just show up, you beat the shit out of each other. Like I said, everybody fights everybody. You cross train. You're the odds of you fighting somebody that you haven't already cross trained with, or at least at their gym, it's gonna, unless you're
Yeah.
one of the guys who, one of those fighters who's like, I'm gonna stick it here, I'm gonna train here and only here. But that's it. That's how it's supposed to be, man. It's a community.
Right.
That's what it is. And, every community has its problems, obviously. But, yeah, it's supposed to be that way. You're supposed to go in there. You're supposed to be able to go in there and, glove up, strap up, beat the hell out of each other, and then give each other a hug and be like, yeah, man.
hey, let's go get some pizza.
Let's go get a beer.
It's even where beefs get squashed, at least for
Exactly.
a night.
Yeah. I mean, fuck it. But
What I was under the impression was, I think when I did his interview the last time he fought for honor and for the title, I asked him, so what's next? What is your plans now that you've got a title in Ohio, you've got a couple in Michigan? So what are you trying to do? And I believe he said, if I can remember right, that he was going to grab one more title in Michigan and try and go pro. Now, I don't know if that was the case.
And I don't think that his last fight in Michigan was a title fight.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
he
didn't
dropped.
say, so I don't know.
That might have been more of a. Did that hit it? That turn something on?
No.
Turn something off?
No.
I swear to God, when it hit the mixer, that button turned on. The red light button.
It may have been not completely shining, but it's been on the whole
Oh
time.
shit.
Dun, dun, dun.
We'll find out if we don't have audio. for
I
the
mean, we
last
had
7
audio
minutes.
for
But yeah, we know that now. We now know that Michael Ado can drop down to 45.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we do know that his last fight wasn't a title fight. Now he's gonna snag. I'm not gonna say he's gonna snag this title.
He's fighting for one,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
gonna say he's fighting for the title now, and then he'll probably try to snag a title, or at least another fight. Maybe not in Michigan, but I wouldn't be surprised, depending on the outcome of this fight against Jamal, I wouldn't be surprised if Scott doesn't try to get him on a February card, either for Cage Thunder or possibly Honor.
Right.
Right.
And then if
I
he-
mean,
and
there's
if he
one in
doesn't-
Indiana too, isn't there?
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
But he may not take that.
'Cause
They may just try to schedule him straight through, and yeah, if he, he wins. If he wins this fight and then he wins his next fight, yes, you know
9
damn
fights,
well,
9-0,
yeah, he's
going pro.
going. There's no way. There's no way Michael Ado's not gonna go pro after his 9th fight. There's nothing holding him. I mean, there's nothing keeping him. If that rule change wouldn't have happened in Ohio,
He'd probably
he
be
would have
pro,
already been
yeah.
pro. So
And he, like, not
I
knowing.
guess technically speaking, he could go pro right now, right?
Yeah,
I
he would just
think-
have to appeal the process and get approval from Bernie.
But why
his
Bernie, though? I
his
thought-
current record's 7-0,
He-
and
he's-
he's
lives
got
in
one
Michigan,
title.
right?
But Michigan doesn't have the 9-0 rule or the 9-fight rule. I don't think.
No, that's
It's-
what I'm
it's
saying.
just Ohio.
That's what I'm saying. So
But
because he lives in Michigan and they don't have that 9-fight rule, could he technically go pro?
He could.
Would Bernie not let him fight?
Right. He would have to have so many fights and
So
a
what
winning
the fuck-
record to come back to Ohio and fight. But Ohio has more fighters, better
Okay, so
promotions.
I thought-
I think we're all misinformed because according to his record right now, he only has one title, and that was supposed to be from Honor. He has no titles from Michigan.
He came in with the title wrapped around his damn.
yeah.
I think that was for boxing
Dude, I don't fucking know. All I know
because
that-
it shows.
Oh, it is.
it really doesn't.
Yeah, it shows from
Yeah.
2017 all the way up until now, all the way up to this next fight in January, and he has a KO he won against Joshua Gunther at Motor City Cage Night 4, round 2 victory, KO. He also won against Kyle Booth, Honor Fighting Championship 5. That was for the title.
Yeah.
Before that was Maurice Montgomery Fight Night and Bikes 3, which is, I believe, is what we thought that title was for.
Yeah, I think so.
But
But you
no.
gotta know some promotions.
Oh, they don't tell him.
Well, no, it's depending on what state. The states sometimes don't regulate championship fights.
Gotcha.
So the promotions will be like, this is for our title, and the state won't recognize it, but it's that promotion's title. Might not mean shit to the state. And every state's different. Like they all have little tweaks on the rules, than the way they do things. So you come in with a title. I mean, shit. People could walk in wearing their jiu-jitsu medals.
Oh, I wasn't trying to negate that.
No,
I
it
was
just
just
I'm
saying
saying it's
it just doesn't show.
yeah. And a lot of the sites you can look it up on, they go by what the state reports.
Right. Yeah, I just looked up the promotion, and it shows Michael Ado as the winner, but absolutely no information on the bottom. Which, by the way, he went for 5-minute rounds.
Like I said, every state.
That is
But like I was saying before, I thought that if you went pro, like say he goes pro in Michigan, and let's say he takes a couple of fights in Michigan as a professional, he could still come to Ohio and compete because there are guys that have fought as a professional in Ohio that have only had like 3 amateur fights.
Right.
But I thought like say with Corey Breckner, okay. If he would have went pro out of state, so he's from Ohio, he lives in Ohio, he's competed most of his, if not all of his fights in Ohio as an amateur. There was a point that he wanted to go pro, but he didn't have the 9 fights, and he talked about going pro in a different state and then coming back to Ohio, and that's when Bernie was like, no, if you do that, I'm going to suspend you for 2 years. But that's because Corey lives in Ohio. Now, if Corey naturally just lived in Pennsylvania
It's
or
not
some
because he
shit-
lived in Ohio. It's because he was fighting in Ohio. If you to go pro somewhere else just to come back and fight, that's the problem. And
But that wouldn't be the same as Michael Ado, though, right?
no,
I mean, no, he's
different-
competed in
different-
Ohio,
he,
but
he has more fights. This will be his 8th.
yes.
Yeah.
So this will be his 8th fight, undefeated. But it's one fight away, and he's undefeated.
Yeah.
If Corey would have taken 2 more fights, he could have done that too. But if people go and talk to Bernie and tell him their situation,
Right.
he let Corey go pro early, not early, but early by the new rule that was put in.
Or he did with technically with Nick Brashear as well, right?
right.
It was like
Kinda.
Yeah, it was kind of. It was weird because
Like he screwed him at first,
yeah.
and then all right, one more fight and then go pro. So
Right.
Which he was just at the last Cage Thunder.
I didn't even see him.
I didn't see him.
Yeah,
He was
he
there.
was.
Holy shit! Yeah, he was there. Yeah, I forgot.
I just saw a fleeting glimpse of him, just out of nowhere.
There was a bunch of Devontae was there with the.
Was that Kayla Kip, or which one? Which female fighter was there next to George? It was not Whitney Piles. I know that.
But your knowledge of female fighters is limited to like 3 fucking people.
Amanda Freilich?
They said Freilich
Yes,
was
that's
there. Amanda Lynn was there.
Sorry, it was Freilich. She was
Okay.
sitting next to.
Yeah, Freilich was there. Yeah, Devontae King Cage, man, he was there with his boys.
Signing autographs, I believe.
Yeah, he actually had he had signature.
I think he put
Pictures.
Scott Corbin to work with the first portion of it, and then he was just signing.
Probably. I mean,
Just this giant stack of fucking.
yeah, like
Photos.
500. Yeah, like 500 signature cards, man, and yeah, he was signing them. That was good, man. I'm happy for Devontae, man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember seeing him.
Devontae's gonna do really well. Like
He is.
especially if he keeps the work ethic he has. I mean, shit. No telling where he can go. He's got to pick the right fights, and he's gold.
Right. But that's as far as the coming to a close on today's podcast. As far as talking about local fights, I know that there are more fights that have publicly been announced. We're going to get to those fights next week.
Yes.
And though we're not going to cover every single fight, we're just going to kind of lead up to the show in January. So basically, what our itinerary looks like, our breakdown of the next few weeks is going to look like is, today obviously we wanted to talk about the title fights, man, because these two fights are big. Next week we'll talk about maybe 3 or 4 of the undercard fights that have been publicly announced already.
There could be more title fights.
Oh
Could
yeah.
be.
Which
You
is
know,
already
he is
starting
also
to.
looking for Cameron McIntosh. He's trying to get him in, and it may not be for Honor. It
Yeah,
might be
that
for
would be
Cage Thunder in
Yep.
February, but he's trying to drop down to 170.
Yeah.
He's walking around at like 181, 182 right now, So that's another
He's
time.
so big.
Yeah. He will, he's not even that big, He's got long arms,
Yeah.
but he's like I say he's walking around like 182, 183. He's not that that big.
Yeah, he's-
I mean for 170
Height
hell,
and reach.
Yeah.
But
and
No,
then we're gonna get back in touch with William Ferguson and
Yep.
Chuck Lamp. Actually, they want to come in and they want to cross train with Apex Fight Systems, and they want to do the podcast. So we're gonna do it in one day.
Oh, yeah.
Come in here. We're gonna have them on the podcast probably about mid-December, and then we're gonna have them. We're gonna get a good session in with training.
I also heard of a
cross-training in.
rumor about Tyree Johnson coming around too.
Who the fuck told you that?
I don't know.
well, to put this out
I
there,
didn't hear nothing about
me either.
that. So
But anyone who would almost anyone that would want to come in and talk about anything on the podcast, let us know. We can make it we can always make a day of it. Podcast, cross train,
Right.
and
Look at the.
there's only a few people that aren't allowed on the door. They know who they are. So if you're wondering, you're probably not one of those 2 people.
Wow, you actually have a ban list?
It's short, yeah. But
I thought it was
pretty
just
short, right?
if
No,
you
but-
can't figure out how to get into Fight Club, you don't go to Fight
see,
Club.
Tyree wouldn't be coming around here.
No, not here. I was just saying I heard a rumor that he was going to be.
As you said, he's about to. You're
Not
on a
here.
rumor
No,
that he's going
no,
to be coming
sorry.
around here. And I'm like, why would he be
I've been
coming
having
around
an
here?
issue lately with getting things
Yeah, it's
mixed up.
like he's okay, all right.
Is he pissed?
Is
Like, he's a moody guy. I see his Facebook.
But no, man, yeah.
he
There's
gets grumpy when he's hungry.
looking at what we have coming out in the future, man. Some of the fights that we're going to be talking about next week.
It's
I'm
gonna be
excited.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. This card's looking shaping up to be pretty good. So again, in closing, want to go ahead and thank Cage Thunder and Honor Fighting Championship, Randy Jarvis Sr., Randy Jarvis Jr.,
Big Dog
and,
Boxing, too.
Big Dog Boxing Promotions, Jeremy Caudell, which we're getting ready to.
OCW and
We're also going to be getting
Little
a
special.
little special of Jeremy, a little inside
Behind the scenes.
behind the scenes with the promoter, kind of like a promoter's life. I'm actually pretty excited to get that going as well. And We have started our website, and we should be launching by the end of the month, officially launching the Rubber City Throwdown website. I'm not going to like dish out the link or anything right now because it's not live yet, so there's really no point in that. But once that goes live, you will know about it. And we're also going to be setting up a donation page in the future for patrons who, you know, if you enjoy what we do and you want to help further what we do.
There's always
It'll
going to be incentive
it'll be
for you
there,
in the end.
Yeah, it'll be there. I'm not going to really push that because, let's face it, we don't make any money for what we do. This is all self-funded.
Yeah.
Everything that you see here is all self-funded.
Straight from the heart.
And self-taught as well. So,
Yeah, well, hey, I mean,
needless to say, this platform is going to be around for quite a while.
I mean, Apex ain't going nowhere, so we got to stay here.
Rubber City Throwdown's not going anywhere for quite a while.
Also, want to welcome officially Spinebuster University.
Yes.
You know, 2 Apex fight systems with OCW. It's the only place around that any combat sport or entertainment is taught under the same roof.
Right.
So
It's nice, and it's a good setup too. You got the cage, you got the boxing ring, and next to that, you got the professional wrestling
Right.
ring.
Now all we need
and we
is
have
the
this
American
studio.
Ninja Warrior
we've got the-
setup.
yeah, we got the, that's all we need now. Is,
Swinging fucking bags in the middle of the damn place.
weights on the other side,
yeah,
machines.
so it's looking good, man. It's looking good. But again, guys, we will see you next week. We'll dive a little bit more into the Honor Fighting Championship card. We'll talk about 3 more.
Stay tuned, guys. It's going to be packed.
like and share.
And until next time.
That hurts.